We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors, and it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done.
What's up, Internet? My name is Ralph, and welcome to the channel. There you just saw President Trump declaring that the federal government is no longer playing around with violent criminality in the United States, and I'm here for it.
Democrats are running a national catch and release business. They've set up shop in every major city, from New York to Seattle. The business model, they stop criminals from going to prison so they can spit them back onto the streets. It's a revolving door of injustice, no matter how many dead bodies it creates. From Lake and Riley to Irina Zarutska, Democrats won't ever say their names or show their faces, but we will.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. A beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead.
New surveillance video and extreme caution. Viewer warning. Shows Irina just seconds after getting slashed in the neck. She looks confused. She looks vulnerable, heartbroken. Irina didn't die immediately. She suffered and then collapsed to the floor, unconscious in a pool of her own blood. She came to America because she thought she would die in Ukraine, but she died here.
She is a refugee. She literally came to the United States from a bomb shelter in Ukraine to escape the war, and she was going about her day. She was coming home from work on a light rail train, like all of us do all the time, and she was brutally murdered. After Irina's death, the embassy in Ukraine called and said, "We'll help you bring her home." And her family said no. They said she loved America. We're going to bury her here. So I think we can give her an America to be proud of. As Mr. Barnacle said, something here is broken, and we're here to fix it.
It's crazy how she escaped a literal war zone. She was, a real refugee. She wasn't one of these people that are just trying to flee poor economic situations or flee the criminal situation of their nation that their government fails, refuses to solve. She is a literal refugee escaping a war zone. She's not a soldier. She is the epitome of an actual refugee, and she comes here and she is murdered by a guy who had no business being out on the street still, because a woke DEI judge, let's just call it what it is, refused to hold him accountable for the actions, his previous actions, his previous crimes. This judge was too concerned about equity and ending systemic racism. I don't even think that's what it is, honestly. I don't, at this point, believe that that's the point of these actions by these judges. I think that what they're doing is trying to systemically destroy our country. I think they're trying to systematically destroy confidence in the system. I think they're trying to systematically destroy the trust of Americans just amongst themselves, not even with the police or the government. I think that they are intentionally trying to create an air of terror everywhere you go so that you fear your neighbor. They continue to release all these violent psychopaths back into our streets, knowing full well that they have histories of violence, And then they say it's because they're trying to end racism. And that just doesn't track. I think that it is a concerted effort by the left to destroy America as a whole.
She was working, she assimilated, but her American dream got cut down on a train. The feds are tacking on a terrorism charge, and DeCarlos Brown, the killer, is facing lethal injection. And there's a bill in play to add options, electric chair or firing squad. But the media says we're just cherry picking cases to find a white George Floyd.
They've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation. And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game. And it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
Big deal.
And this is the same disgusting behavior that we just keep consistently getting from the left, from Democrats and liberals and progressives. She didn't even address, she's not addressing the death of this poor girl, this actual legitimate refugee that the left supposedly cares about so much. She's over here talking about how this is a political game. She's over here racializing. I'm so disgusted with the left. I didn't vote for Trump because I'm a Republican or a conservative. I voted for Trump because I am so disgusted with the left. And don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand that as I was once a Democrat or on the left. I've been well aware of the Democratic Party's history since middle school. So they were never a party I could really align myself with. But they have just utterly disgusted me so much in the last 10 years that they have become intolerable outright. So 2026, I'm gonna go vote just to make sure, just to at least put my 2 cents in to try and prevent Democrats from retaining power or gaining more power. I can't do it anymore. I can't stand these people.
Difference here, we're not rioting. And Floyd was no choir boy. Arena was an innocent angel. And Floyd's death was unintentional. Here, there's no doubt DeCarlos was there to kill. And he's not just one bad apple. There are a lot of DeCarlos Browns running around. DeCarlos had 14 priors. Wake County, North Carolina, just a few miles away from Charlotte. There's 800 people with 14 or more priors, just from the last decade. Some of them racked up 50 to 70 arrests apiece. And this isn't for jaywalking. Almost all of them have assault charges. They're violent. Yesterday, another North Carolina man, Julian MacArthur, with 30 arrests, stabbed a woman with a drug needle while he was out on probation. Alexander Dickey, 30 years old, 40 arrests. He was just let out of jail and shot a college girl in the ribs, and now she's dead. The dad wants the death penalty.
Logan would want him dead. He is the prime candidate. He checks all the boxes. He rings the bell. He's graduated every step of the way from his crimes. He was arrested 39 times, Trey. 25 of them were felonies. I mean, this guy was.
How do you have 25 felonies and you are not in prison? That doesn't make any sense. Dude, when I was growing up, people used to get sent off for petty, like nonviolent drug offenses. And as far as I understand, that's probably the best way to really catch good time to like heavy time is a drug offense. If you are, moving some sort of large quantity of drugs, that's probably your best way to get like 10 plus years. You probably kill somebody these days, get less time. You could probably hurt a kid and get less time. And matter of fact, that's a thing that me and my lady talk about all the time is how these people that hurt kids go and sit 6 months, 8 months, and then they're back out and they're just all on a registry and on probation. What? You see some other guy who got popped for selling some stuff, whatever that stuff may be, to another guy. No one died, no one got hurt. Two consenting adults had a business exchange. Whether or not you agree with that isn't the point. Nobody was injured. It was between two consenting adults. Those cats will get more time than these people out here murdering, hurting kids. And this is why I hate the Democratic Party so much. They do not care about anyone. It is only their own power. It is, you keep hurting people, don't worry about it. Come back in a month. No ankle monitor? What? It's honestly, it's a testament to everyone on. It is honestly a testament to Republicans and conservatives and just everyone that voted for Trump that they aren't right. These, people on the left, your Antifa, your BLM activists, even Congress people, Democratic Congress people, they're out here uh, protesting. They were out 2021, whatever, rioting in the streets. So shit, they were riots, I think 2020, 2021. These people burning down city blocks, killing folks, looting department stores, and they're still looting department stores in mass in major cities, California especially. Meanwhile, DEI woke Democrat judges and prosecutors release violent criminals back out on the street over and over again to harm and eventually kill innocent, peaceable civilians. Where are the right wing riots? Where are the conservative riots? Why aren't we seeing, DA's offices in these major cities being burnt down and occupied? But they harped on forever about January 6th. Nah, done with these games.
Wasn't getting any better. They didn't put him in prison so he couldn't be rehabilitated. So, why not? Why have he's graduated every step of the way from his crimes. He was arrested 39 times, Trey. 25 of them were felonies. I mean, this guy wasn't getting any better. They didn't put him in prison so he couldn't be rehabilitated. So, why not? Why haven't they made a statement that they are seeking the death penalty now? I don't understand. It's been 4 months last week that my daughter was executed.
It's not just North Carolina. Every major city has DeCarlos Browns. In Baton Rouge, Anthony Jelks Jr., he had 6 arrests in 6 years, from firearm charges to domestic abuse. And he was let out of jail, put on probation, and then raped a 4-year-old. Gave her an STD. New York City. Remember Michelle, the woman who was arrested over 97 times?
That Baton Rouge one right there. I could see people rioting over that. The left wants to riot about career criminals being shot by police because they were unarmed or whatever the case may be. I could totally understand folks in Baton Rouge rioting over a career criminal being released over and over again until he ultimately assaults a 4-year-old. But you don't see these riots. Then the left wants to talk about how conservatives, Republicans are all violent, white supremacists. They'll tout that, the majority of domestic terrorism is right wing, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Where? Maybe in the 90s. Where is it today? It doesn't really exist. Not on any appreciable scale. All the violence committed, all the terrorist acts committed are coming from leftists, liberals, progressives, communists. Because they are at heart all violent authoritarians that are simply trying to use shame to cow any sort of pushback. And it's time to not just push back. It's time to crush these people.
Dumb DAs and DEI judges are just unleashing career criminals like DeCarlos onto the streets. And every time someone gets killed, they say, oops. The woman that let DeCarlos Brown walk with no cash bail, guess who she donated to?
When Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing.
The White House says this is Teresa Stokes, a Harris donor who doesn't even have a law degree, but just made a career criminal and a schizophrenic who beat his own sister when he was out on parole. Pinky promised that he'd behave. Ms. Stokes wasn't elected. She was nominated by the clerk. In Mecklenburg County, the sitting clerk is Alyssa Chin Gary. On her LinkedIn page, she calls herself a clerk and a DEI consultant and a racial equity organizer. And her life mission? Reparations.
We are here to honor them, to lift their names, and to continue that intergenerational work that we are required to do to eliminate structural racism.
Ms. Stokes was nominated by Judge Carla Archie. Judge Archie is friends with Eric Holder, Obama's wingman. And
Understand how these judges are allowed to implement these sort of policies within their courts. If they are giving individuals reduced sentences or outright releasing them or just giving them less conditions than other individuals based on race, if they are predominantly, if not completely, focusing these diminished consequences to Black and minority communities while continuing to give the same old sentences and punishments to white folks, I don't understand how that is even possible to be allowed. You can't discriminate based on race in this country. We know that they have been for decades, but this has got to be stopped. And lawmakers in North Carolina are calling for this judge's removal. As far as I understand it at this point, they're unlikely to be able to actually effectuate that, just based on the nature of how the job is obtained and retained. There isn't necessarily something here that they can use to pull her from the court, but that in and of itself is an issue. We have a serious issue of politically motivated, biased judges all across the country enforcing their ideology rather than the Constitution.
Judge Archie isn't just any judge. In 2019, she was the DEI Champion of the Year. Is this starting to make sense? Did a woman die because of DEI? Just a couple months ago, a guy shot 5 people on New Year's, and Judge Archie sentenced him to 1.5 years for shooting 5 people, 1.5 years.
How does that make sense? This guy shoots 5 people, you give him 1.5 years, like he isn't gonna get out and shoot somebody again? Are you serious? This is unacceptable. Aren't there mandatory minimums for this type of thing? Or is that only for drug cases? I'm so confused how this is even possible. This doesn't make sense.
This is a DEI court, and they have blood on their hands. And if the people in robes are on the same side as the bad guys, that's suicide. Are you okay with the country committing judicial suicide? I'm not. DEI died when Kamala lost. It's illegal. And releasing felons with dozens of arrests for social justice is a crime against the country. They've set up these dangerous DEI courts in cities nationwide, catching and releasing criminals to prey on innocent people. These courts need to be systematically dismantled, and that needs to happen immediately. Trump says it's time to fight fire with fire.
We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors, and it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Trump vowing to bring the hammer down on criminals as well as the woke DEI judges and prosecutors nationwide that have been releasing these violent criminals back into our streets when they should be in jail. Now, I said this in my last video about the North Carolina train stabbing. I think that we need to bring back state hospitals. In my last video, I pointed out that the number of beds per 100,000 for state available beds, it dropped from 300 plus to something like 22 nationwide as the average. And I think that that's a big issue. As I said before, I think that we do need to figure out a way to separate people that are criminals simply because they don't care and people that commit criminal acts and violent acts because they're suffering literal delusions and cannot perceive the world as it is. Um, so yeah, I advocate for a return, reintroduction of state hospitals, but I also am 100% behind Trump's push to start enforcing the laws that we have on the books, to start holding these criminals accountable for their actions to the fullest extent, and finally, some action taken against these judges and prosecutors that seem to care very little, if at all, about the safety of law abiding Americans and more about the releasing of violent criminal elements back into our neighborhoods. It's funny the way they'll throw the book at you for petty stuff. You could be the most normal person who makes a mistake, and they'll throw the book at you. You could be, if you're familiar with asset forfeiture, so many just totally random normal people doing completely normal legal business have had millions of dollars seized and made almost impossible to recoup by state and local federal police for decades at this point. They'll completely destroy people's lives with things like this. Normal, hardworking Americans, and then they'll let murderers and rapists out with a slap on the wrist. Hardly any monitoring. Almost no mental health evaluation or care. This is a completely untenable situation, and I am very happy to see action finally being taken on it. So that's going to be it for this episode. Like, share, subscribe. Everything helps. Let me know in the comments if you are here for Trump's crackdown, not only on criminals, but the authority figures that keep on releasing them. Until next time, later, Gators.